In this episode, the true villain is finally revealed. Hey there, my name is Rex, episode 77 of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, and oh boy, this episode was pretty insane, and a lot kind of seems to come together in this episode. So we catch up with our main cast as they're meeting with Yuo, and Yuo basically proposes to Yuga, hey, let's just get rid of all this conflict, let's fuse Goha duels and Rush duels, and Yuga's like, alright, sure, go ahead. And, I guess a funny thing is when Yuo says, all right, cool, run the program, install Rush Duels, he's given a waiting number. And this is where Yuga reveals what he's been doing all along. And, also kind of makes a little more sense at, like, why he was working at Goha in the first place is that, not just Rush Duels, but any duel is basically allowed now, is that anyone can create their own duel. He's created an app that allows anybody to install their own duel, so which is pretty crazy. And so we see everyone else doing their own duels. So he really foils Yuo's plans basically, and I think that's also kind of neat to see that. He threatens to fire Yuga, however, the other siblings come in and they say, hey, decisions like that need all the siblings, because, even though they were away for a bit, they're all still the presidents. However, at this point, Yuga wants to get more information, though. He says, it's fine, I'll leave. But in exchange, though, you got to give me information on the mind-controlling card and, the forbidden card. So now all of them head underground, and I like that, they're all together. And, they're still following up with a whole, like, Yuga being deconfirmed as the sibling. I didn't really believe it as much last episode, but now with this one, okay, I've accepted it. And especially, with the other siblings, as they're saying, oh, it's a shame that it turned out you weren't actually our sixth sibling. We would have liked to have you as a sibling, so that's kind of neat. They get underground and they find the card printing machine still active. So now everything's coming together. And I like that, there's more stuff like that. That with this episode, yeah, the arc overall, it kind of seemed a little aimless. And I think to a degree it was in some areas. But now we're kind of seeing a lot of things come together, especially with the card printing machine that has been rebuilt. That's still there. So they run it and they print off the last printed card, which is Monster Reborn, and this is the forbidden card. So now everything comes together. Okay, Nanaho and her group got in, rebuilt this machine, had this going on, got this forbidden card, used it to mind control Swirly, and so now they'll be able to fix things, supposedly, or break the spell. So at this point, Swirly goes wild and crazy, and this episode's huge. There's a lot going on. And with Swirly, I like Swirly. I liked him before, and so now we see that he's he attempts to do and now even more mysterious stuff as he gets a dual disc that was stored inside Doll. I never trusted Doll for a second there. It's a black dual disc, and so now the duel is about to begin, and Yuga steps up, but I do like that Yuo kind of steps in, because Yuo has been having a lot of flashbacks. We knew, like, at the beginning of this arc something was going on with him having memories that were lost and him dueling, and I like that he's kind of the one to step up now, because he feels some personal ties to whatever's going on with this forbidden card, or he's having memories, flashbacks, and so he takes the Monster Reborn and starts to duel, and I like that now we actually get to see Swirly's deck, which this is, I guess, the scariest part, that this mysterious black dual disc has Swirly's actual cards, because he's using a bunch of chameleon monsters. So he summons 2 small ones, tributes them both for 2 bigger ones, sets a card, ends his turn. Onto Yuo's turn. He draws Monster Reborn, the forbidden card. So in order to, I guess, break the spell, he's got to use this card. So he activates Monster Reborn, takes one of Swirly's monsters, and tributes it for one of his monsters, this Serpent, and he summons one of his own monsters. And so he's also, while dueling, Yuo's having a lot of flashbacks of a chant that's supposed to supposedly go along with the card. So now he fusion summons into this new monster, which I really like, Italian King Cobra Star, and it's pretty appropriate. It's a big reptile monster, and it's got a pretty sick effect in that it can lower the attack of his opponent's monsters and attack twice. So he's basically got game, and as he goes into attack 4 game, he says this chant that should break the spell. However, Swirly survives with a trap card, and I think a good amount of people know, obviously. The spell is broken, the seal is broken, But the problem was, just the most insane thing, turns out Swirly was the sixth sibling, and on top of that was an evil that was sealed away inside Swirly, which I like for dramatic purposes. And now we get to meet the final evil boss, the sixth sibling, Yuga Goha. His name is still Yuga. He has the same first name, just a different last name. And this guy is insane. This guy's scary. And I was thinking to myself, like, a lot of this feels a lot like old Yu-Gi-Oh, or at least other things in Yu-Gi-Oh, previously used tropes, in that, like, a very friendly character ends up getting corrupted, or a character who seemed friendly was actually, this evil sealed away, stuff like that, right? We've seen it in Yu-Gi-Oh, or similar things like that. So now we get the whole backstory. Yuga Goha was the sixth sibling, and he seems a lot older and taller than everyone else, and he was just terrible. He was evil, sadistic. He beat people in duels for fun, and it was brutal too. And so this final duel that happened years ago, 2 years ago I think they said it was, there's a certain amount of time ago, where Yuo used Monster Reborn during a duel to seal away Yuga into Swirly, and their memories are gone from that. It was kind of weird, and hit his duel disk. But there's a lot of, like, I guess, discussion, like, how it was done, and to a degree I think that most of the arc leading up to it was kind of weirdly done. I think the big thing was that they deconfirmed Swirly as one of the siblings, and I guess you could say, like, he was sealed away, he was, Swirly and Yuga are a little different, or maybe because he had the mask on, or the suit on. I think that if they just didn't do that one part, everything would be fine. This episode, like, kind of on its own, and I guess, let's say the arc as a whole, and this episode being, like, a big part of it, amazing. Or at least, this episode's really good, and it kind of recontextualizes a lot of the previous arc, and helps bring it together. So I think that this episode by itself, amazing and great. And especially with this guy, Yuga Goha, as on his turn, after surviving with the trap card, now it's back onto his turn, and he summons his ace monster, and just keeps pumping it up, has a spell card, has its effect, and it gets to 7,000 attack. And of course he's just being evil the whole time. I love it too. And he actually also used Monster Reborn during his turn, so now he's activated it, and then with him attacking Yuo's monster, he takes his memories. He seals them. He activates the Monster Reborn, the forbidden card, which in this world, or at least, maybe not just Monster Reborn, but the forbidden version of Monster Reborn, steals memories. And Yuo's just done. So, and he beats him in the duel, which, it's pretty crazy. And, I guess it's kind of also interesting because with Yuo was the evil sibling, right? Out of the bunch. So we all expected, maybe the sixth sibling, it could be Yuga, or it could be Swirly with lost memories, whatever. It was Swirly, but it was an eviler person. Because, we already thought Yuo was the evil sibling, but we knew nothing. This guy is just a straight-up Yu-Gi-Oh villain. And, I love it. It's amazing. But I'm so sad, I'm so torn apart, because I actually really liked Swirly. I got to like him a lot more. With a lot of other recent episodes, so that made it sting even more, but that made it so much more effective. So Yuga Goha, we'll have to find some, I guess we'll just say his full name, Yuga Goha, or Dark Yuga. Yuga Goha leaves, and Doll goes with him. Again, I didn't trust Doll. I think Doll seemed to know from the very beginning. Very interesting, though. I guess Tiger also knew in some way. I guess, for one thing, she is a little older. And she had known Asana in the past, so maybe it's not too much of a stretch to say that she knew Yuga in the past and knew about Swirly in some way. Who knows exactly? But we'll probably get maybe an explanation later. So now Yuga meets up, or flies away and meets up with Nanaho. And so it was really crazy because, we had seen Nanaho, and it's like, I guess she's the villain for the arc, right? And, I guess she was, but there was an even bigger bad through that, so it's pretty interesting now. And, I felt also sad when Luke was like, hey, Swirly, come on, let's get back to work, Swirly. And he's just like, farewell, Luke, and I leave. Oh, gosh, great episode. And I guess, a little darker than usual for Yu-Gi-Oh! 7. So, it was really kind of an unexpected thing. And again, we were like, more villain-like antagonists, right, with Yuo and with Nanaho and whatever. They had nothing. They had nothing on Yuga Goha. So, again, I like this guy's design. Again, like I said, he looks the part of a Yu-Gi-Oh villain. So kind of getting that more so than, you know, some of the other characters who serve as antagonists and maybe, you know, changed or were redeemed, or maybe their interests changed. You know, they weren't necessarily evil, a good amount of them, but having Yuga Goha as that is pretty crazy. Oh gosh, I mean, there's like a lot going on with this episode, but I thought it was good. Again, you know, I think that maybe some decisions in the past leading up to it were a little not very well done. And again, I think a good amount of people are talking about that, and you know, rightfully so. But you know, this episode as it's on its own, I think is great and is pretty good, amazing. How it all fit, like I think for sure, you know, Swirly definitely something was up with him, because you know, just the fact that like they introduce Swirly and he's just like, oh hey, you know, here's this character, and you know that's a big reason. Like at first I didn't like Swirly. I thought it was like, oh, who's this, you know, stupid little kid they're introducing, right? And you know, they're making him a part of the main cast for whatever reason. Oh, and he's hanging around with them every episode. But so it was kind of predictable, I guess, for him to end up being something like that. You know, I think it was pretty obvious he could be the seventh sibling, even though, you know, I hopped off that train toward the end. I was like, no, it's Yuga all the way. Yuga Oda all the way. So now, you know, this reveal makes sense, but in terms of like, you know, the purpose of Swirly, and again, having him placed as this cute, innocent little guy, the best boy, he could do nothing wrong, and it turns out he was actually the evil sealed away. So the thing is, though, you know, with like evil characters like this, you know, in terms of how they'll deal with them, you know, I don't expect Yuga Goha to die at the end of this. Me personally, I really want them to just seal him back, put him back inside the chameleon suit, give us back Swirly, please, I'm begging you. So we'll see how all that goes, but yeah, great episode, insane, and we got a few more episodes in the arc. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe, show your support, and enable notifications. Make sure you see the video as it comes out. I'm sort of back on schedule, nearly there. So I'm a little late to the big reveal party, but hopefully that'll be back on track. But anyway, this has been Rex. Have a nice day.